This story is called The Showers. It's about this guy who remembers a bizarre and terrifying tale that his high school teacher told the class years ago. The teacher, let's call him Mr. Matheson, had this strange job before teaching. He used to be hired to photograph abandoned buildings, the creepy kind you see on the outskirts of towns, where it feels like you're stepping into a time capsule. Well, Mr. Matheson would travel all over, capturing these places for books on haunted or historic sites. One day, a contact gives him a tip about a place called The Showers. Now, the name itself doesn't sound that scary, right? But when he starts asking around, locals react in this weird, uneasy way when they hear it. No one will come right out and explain why, but they keep saying things like "stay away" or "nothing good happens there." Of course, this just piques his curiosity more, so he decides to go check it out. He drives to the location, which is pretty deep into the countryside. Think dirt roads, open fields, and woods stretching out forever. Eventually, he comes upon this old, decrepit building that looks like it's been abandoned for decades. It's covered in ivy, the windows are broken, and there's just this awful stench hanging in the air like mold and decay. Mr. Matheson makes his way inside, and the first thing that hits him is how dark it is. Even though it's broad daylight outside, barely any light seeps through the cracks and broken windows. He finds himself in a long, narrow hallway with several doors on each side, all leading into rooms filled with rows of rusty shower stalls. You can imagine it, right? It's like walking into a horror movie set. Cracked tiles, stagnant water pooled in places, and those showy ads dangling from the ceiling like they're watching you. So, as he goes deeper into the building, things start to feel off. It's not just the eerie atmosphere, it's the silence. He says it's so quiet, it's almost like the building itself is listening. Eventually, he reaches this strange metal hatch in the floor that looks out of place, like it wasn't part of the original construction, against his better judgment. Because, come on, nothing good comes from opening a hatch in a place like that. He opens it and finds a ladder leading down into the darkness. At this point, any sane person would leave, but Mr. Matheson climbs down into a second level, which is even more messed up than the first. Down here, the shower stalls are different, larger, more spaced out, almost like they were designed for something other than just showering. The walls are covered in black grime, and there's this awful sense of something lurking just beyond his line of sight. As he's moving further in, he starts hearing these faint, echoing whispers. He can't make out what they're saying, but they seem to be coming from all directions, almost like they're bouncing off the walls. Then he sees movement, just fleeting shadows at first, darting across the corners of his vision. He tries to stay calm, but the feeling of dread is growing. It's like the deeper he goes, the heavier the air gets, almost as if the building itself is suffocating him. Then, he reaches the far end of the sublevel, where there's one final shower stall. This one's different. It's newer, like it's been used recently, and there's a small, scratched-up mirror hanging on the wall beside it. When he looks into the mirror, for a split second, he swears he sees someone standing behind him. But when he spins around, there's no one there. That's when the whispers stop, and he hears it. This loud, unmistakable sound of water rushing through the pipes. Except, there's no water running anywhere that he can see. He starts backing away, trying to make his way out of there when he hears a slamming noise. The hatch at the top of the ladder just shut. In the darkness, with that horrible silence pressing in on him, Mr. Matheson realizes he's not alone. Something is down there with him. Something that's been hiding in those showers for God knows how long. He doesn't remember much after that. just that he somehow managed to get the hatch open and scrambled out of the building, practically sprinting to his car. The kicker? When he later tried to find the building again, it was just gone, like it had never existed. He drove down the same roads, looked for the same landmarks, but it was as if the showers had vanished into thin air, taking all its dark secrets with it. And the locals he spoke to afterward, they just gave him this look like they knew something he didn't but weren't about to tell him. There's this lingering question about what the showers actually were. Was it some kind of old asylum, a place for something sinister? Or was it something even darker, like a doorway to somewhere else? Whatever it was, it left Mr. Matheson with a feeling he'd never forget. A feeling that maybe some places are abandoned for a reason and some things are better left undiscovered.